The devil shivers when a nice guy loses his temper. Licensed third-party anime games. Sometimes they're trash. You know, some would say I owe a lot to the genre, considering my first big break on YouTube was me complaining about ASBR. I'm sure I sound like a broken record already. They think we're little piggies, and that they can get away with feeding us slop. They think if they churn out mediocre slop and put it in our feeding trout, we're just gonna slurp it all up and go, thank you. Thank you for your overpriced, underbaked, uninspired slop. We, as consumers, deserve better! In my opinion, a licensed game should be able to stand on its own two legs separated from the property it's based on. A Garfield kart should be judged on the same level as Mario Kart. It shouldn't get a pass to make a crappy game just because it has the funny orange cat. But ever since I played ASBR, I have heard of a legend. A legend about an old licensed anime game that might actually be good. Not anime game good, good game good. In 2002, Capcom made a single-player JoJo's brawler game called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Vento Aureo, for the PS2. And so considering I've been going on a little bit of a licensed game streak, I think it's time I finally check out this game to see if maybe this game might just be the one. But first, gentlemen and ladies, this fantastic video was brought to you by the fine folk over at manscaped.com. Fellas, it's the holidays, so why not treat yourselves to the finest in the men's grooming game with Manscaped's Beard and Balls bundle. Not only do you get the iconic Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra for your golden boys, but just like Santa, Manscaped's throwing you a little gift with the Manscaped Beard Hedger. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is no joke, let me tell ya. Right before recording this, I gave this puppy a whirl, and let me tell ya, the Chewy Balls 1 have never been crisper. They got so many features on this baby I never even knew I needed, but now, how could I ever go back to landscaping in the dark? They have a freaking light on this thing. But let's not forget about the Beard Hedger, you hairy Henrys. This beauty has 20 different length settings, an hour of battery life, and an official endorsement from yours truly. Folks, whether it's for yourself or for a loved one, get 20% off plus international shipping with promo code CHEWYDOG or use the link in the description below. Your balls will thank you. Alright, now where were we? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Vento Aureo. Okay, from now on, I'm just gonna call it Vento Aureo. I'm not saying that mouthful every time. Vento Aureo was only ever released in Japan. There were plans for an international release, but I guess they just forgot or something, I don't know. What I think likely happened is the fine folks at Capcom realized, oh damn, it's 2005. Nobody outside of Japan knows what a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure even is. This game is gonna sell less copies than Concord.
Warning. Time anomaly detected.
Okay, I don't have much time. In the year 2019, there will be a worldwide pandemic called COVID. And so, instead of localizing the game for a region that probably wouldn't care about the game, they just chose to save their time and money. Luckily, fans have made an English patch for the game, which is what I'm gonna be using because, guys, I'm sorry, but I can't read this. You might think that means I'm gonna be using an emulator, but guys, we've already been over this. Trust me. I actually have a special PS2. It's called a PS2 Blue. Take a look at it. There it is. It's right there in front of me. Believe it or not, but Sony ever only made 4 of these bad boys. They were made specifically to play fan-made English patches. I think Pro Jared has the other 3, and did he just flip me off? Yeah, so, just like my Xbox, he just did it again, what the hell? Screw this, let's just start the game. Yeah, so I actually just got out of my Chewierific rehab therapy. I swear to God, if this game has any references to virtual insanity, I will— Oh, come on! Alright, time for the classic Chewy Dog title screen psychoanalysis. It's actually a pretty clean title screen. I'd say they were going for a minimalism look, but I think it's just because this is a PS2 game. Super story? Alright there, pal, slow down. I'll be the judge of that. Don't get too ahead of yourself, alright? Looks like we have 2 locked modes for later and a big bar labeled Geo points. What the hell are Geo points? The game begins with a summary of the entire series up to where the game begins, Part 5. If you think of JoJo parts as seasons of a show, it might sound weird to make a game about the 5th season without making games for everything before it, but I think it works out just fine. They did make a PS2 Phantom Blood game, which starts at the very beginning of the series, but like, come on, y'all know me by now. Put a Golden Wind game and a Phantom Blood game in my face, and which do you think I'll pick? A standalone Part 5 game actually works out pretty well. Part 5 is pretty disconnected from the rest of the series, and so you can easily have a full narrative about Part 5 without ever knowing anything else about the previous parts. But just because the game wants to, and I mean I might as well catch everyone up to speed, so there's this protagonist called Joe, and he's king of the Redditors. But then he dies because he's dumb and a little racist. But now there's like 9 Joes, one for each part. Sometimes Joe's a woman, sometimes Joe's in a wheelchair, and sometimes Joe has a mama. Joe Mom. For this game, you don't need to care about any of these goobers. This game is exclusively about Joe number 5, Blonde Joe, aka Giorno Giovanna. He's the blonde one. On one hand, it's cool to catch people up to speed, you know? It gives some contextual background to the game, but also pays respect to the original source material. But on the other hand, absolutely nothing from this slideshow will ever be relevant in this game. But like, honestly, who cares? Why am I even complaining about stuff this stupid? Maybe I'm depressed. Why is this edited like a Ham on Beat video? The game actually begins in Italy, where our protagonist Giorno is frolicking around when, he gets jumped by a gangster named Leaky Eye Luca. You know, I never figured out why he's called that. Giorno responds reasonably by killing Luca with a shovel. He's doing what? Later, on a train, Giorno gets approached by Leaky Eye Luca's boss, a man by the name of Bruno Bucciarati. Or Bucciolati. Don't tell me how to say my names! Who the fuck? Why does he sound like that? I'm sorry, am I playing as a gangster or a 9-year-old girl? Bruno is angry Giorno whacked one of his men, but he's also a little freaky, so he licks us and now we gotta fight. This is the tutorial fight. The combat is pretty standard for a PS2 era brawler game. You can run around, punch, dodge roll, the standard. Defeat Bruno using your stand ability? Nah, bitch. I don't need the handicap. Bruno is a bum. Look at this shit. Bro's got nothing on me. Look, even when I'm standing still, the coward is too chicken to strike back. Pathetic. The main shtick of the combat in this game are the stand abilities. By pressing L1, you can summon your stand, which is a little ghost buddy who can fight on your behalf. Eventually, we'll play as multiple characters, and each has their own unique stand ability, but that's later. Don't worry about that yet. Honey. While fighting with your standout, all your attacks become stand attacks, and you even get access to some pretty cool unique abilities. Giorno, for example, has the ability to create life from inanimate objects. And what that means in game is I can do things like punch the ground to make a tree sprout up, or hit a fire extinguisher to turn it into a snake to attack my target. The only thing you have to worry about when using your stand is that it drains your stand bar, and when it reaches 0, the next time you get hit, you'll be stunned and your stand will be temporarily disabled. Unfortunately, the combat does have some issues. For one, there's no lock-on feature like most brawlers have. Oftentimes, you just end up completely missing your attacks and it makes you look like a dunce. There's also no block button. Instead, if you're not doing anything with your standout, you'll automatically block, but that's stupid. While we're at it, give me a grab. I love grappling. I want to grab this guy by the arms and bash his head through a freaking brick wall. This game also has a mechanic called secret factors. During each fight, there are multiple hidden conditions that, when met, give you a little HP boost. Each secret factor is based on something your current character actually did during each respective fight in the manga. I actually like this mechanic a lot because if you're willing to put in the extra elbow grease, you can get some hidden dialogue, hidden cutscenes, or even entire mechanics that change up the fight. But you're never forced to fight any particular way, it's all completely optional. And it rewards people who are familiar with the source material. Why is this train running completely empty? It's like the middle of the day. Where is everyone? Bingo? After you beat his behind, Bruno pieces out and tries to run away, but that ain't happening on my watch. So we chase him around town, but he can use his zipper powers to cheat. This is not fair, man. This part is annoying. You just run back and forth trying to land a hit before he pieces out and you gotta go find him again. Why do none of these dudes walking around care that we are literally fighting to death on the street? I am making trees from nothing and Bruno is teleporting around, but to these guys, this is just another Tuesday. This guy is so stupid he doesn't even know how to get around this lamppost. Here, let me help you out, Chief. Once you get Bruno's HP low enough, he uses his zipper powers to hide inside someone. Luckily, I'm not an idiot, so I know it's you! Oh, still not coming out, eh? Alright, no problem, I'll just keep beating this guy's ass. Eventually he'll have to come out. He was never in any of them to begin with. Masterful gambit, good sir. Finally, on my 4th attempt, I beat him. Thank you, John Hope. An E? I didn't even know letter grades went that low. Oh, right, no, E for excellent. Okay, never mind. Thank you very much, I appreciate that. Instead of finishing him off, Giorno chooses to spare Bruno. When asked why, Giorno tells him it's because he hates drugs. But Bruno, he might actually hate drugs even more than Giorno does. Bruno is a member of a gang called Ps2, which not only sounds like a poppin' nightclub, but they're the gang that peddles all the drugs in Italy. And so Giorno and Bruno team up with the goal of taking the boss of Ps2 down from the inside and stopping big drugs so they can save Italy. I don't think there's enough time in the universe to save Italy. The only issue is that the boss is in hiding and no one has ever actually seen his face before. Actually, I've never seen Bruno and the boss in the same room. To join Bruno's gang, Giorno needs to be led in by a capo. And so he meets with... Holy shit, Big Chungus. This guy is named Polpo, and he's a capo. Polpo gives Giorno a lighter, and if he can keep the flame from going out for 24 hours, he's in the clan. Also, I'm just now noticing Koichi has just been completely written out of this game. In the original manga and anime, there's a character named Koichi who kind of kickstarts all these events, but in the game, they just kind of pretend he never even existed. They made the story work fine without him, so it's not a big deal at all, but I just think it's kind of funny. This is Short Guy Erasure. Giorno is having a dandy old time with his new lighter when this stupid old man accidentally puts it out. And that's when a mysterious stand ability named Black Sabbath appears and ends my comfort character. Alright, fight 2, yippee! The first thing you'll notice during this fight is Black Sabbath can only move within the shadows. The second is that this guy, I swear, has one move and it's hella annoying. Oh my god, let me go! Dude, stop! No means no, asswipe! Leave me alone! I can't even grab, how is this fair? This fight isn't too hard. If you knock Black Sabbath out into the light, he takes a ton of damage and then retreats back into the shadows. So if you just abuse that mechanic, you'll be alright. After beating him, Giorno picks up the reignited lighter and brings it back to Polpo the next day. Polpo is... ah, crap, I accidentally skipped the cutscene. Well, I'm sure nothing terrible happens to Polpo. Let's just say he lives happily ever after. Now, as an official member of Bruno's gang, Giorno killed Polpo with a banana and staged it as a... Now, as an official member of Bruno's gang, Giorno meets his new family. There's a Bacchio, the goth one, Mista, the funny one, Narancha, the malnourished one, and Fugo, the gamer. I made a video essay on that guy once. Fun fact, all of them are named after pasta. Because Italians are weird like that. Here's where the game's story first diverges from the original. You see, in the manga, this is where we get a whole arc about Bruno working to become the next capo, taking Polpo's position. Cause he's dead. But in the game, instead what happens is some woman waltzes into the spaghetti shop like she owns the damn place. This is Trish. In the manga, Trish is a character who doesn't come into the story until later. She's the daughter of Passione's mysterious boss, and Bruno and the bunch are tasked with escorting her to the boss. And since nobody knows the true identity of the boss, Bruno and Giorno decide that would be a great opportunity to come face to face with the boss so they can, guess that means we won't be getting a Zucchero fight. R.I.P. to a real one. Who am I kidding? Nobody gives a fuck about that loser. But first, Trish is being a little rich, spoiled brat and wants some name brand girl product and name brand water. And so Narancha is given the incredibly dangerous task of going out shopping. We actually get a whole slice of life arc about Narancha exploring the mall. Nah, I'm kidding, he gets jumped. But Narancha doesn't get jumped by just any gangster, he gets jumped by a member of La Squadra. La Squadra is the former hitman team of Passione who have since gone rogue and are now also trying to get rid of the boss. And so to do so, they want to take the boss's daughter hostage. Narancha is the second character we get to play as, and he is so freaking OP, it's funny. I'm actually surprised. I didn't do much research into this game beforehand, but I kind of just figured you played as Giorno throughout the entire game. Narancha's stand ability is to summon this tiny fighter plane that shoots bullets and even drops bombs. And it's as overpowered and goofy looking as it sounds. I mean, look at this! The other guy, Formaggio, has the ability to shrink things, or even himself, which is pretty damn worthless if you ask me. I mean, look at this, he doesn't even stand a chance. At one point in the fight, Formaggio shrinks Narancha and tries stomping him to death. But if you ask me, this is pretty reckless to do because you're just setting yourself up for a Thanos and Ant-Man situation. Keep in mind, bro's job was literally to just go shopping. Average Tuesday adventure of an unemployed individual. This is actually my first and only fight in this playthrough that I beat on my first try. I mean, the guy barely even fights back. He shrinks himself and he just runs around the map. Like, yeah, you're totally gonna beat me with that one. After taking the dub, Narancha returns to the hideout and Bruno gets a Skype message from the boss.
I need a key. It's for a vehicle that's free. Then bring my daughter to me. Check out my SoundCloud Lil Diavolo.
So Giorno, Abbacchio, and Fugo are sent to retrieve the key. But uh-oh, Mirror Man! Fugo gets sucked into a mirror, which brings him into a flipped version of our reality. But to a sick, twisted individual like me, that's just normal reality. Being inside the mirror world reverses your movement inputs, which is a super cool mechanic, although I'd be lying if I didn't say it's also incredibly frustrating. This fight is actually split into 3 separate fights, and for the first one, you don't actually have to fight back. All you need to do is survive the Mirror Man's attacks for 2 whole minutes. It's actually decently challenging with the inverted controls, especially when he's popping in and out of random mirrors, throwing knives everywhere. If you weren't accustomed to using the dodge roll before, this fight basically forces you to use it. Next, Abbacchio gets pulled into a mirror by Aluso. Oh yeah, that's his name, by the way. And this time you actually have to fight back. It's actually pretty hard with the inverted controls. This one took me a couple of attempts. Aluso will jump between the real world and the mirror world, and so you have to use the stand button to swap over to whichever world Aluso is currently in, since stands are left behind in the real world. Not sure why he would choose to fight a stand ability in the real world when he can fight a disoriented person in the mirror world, but okay.
Go eat some glass, bitch. But like, cause he's a mirror guy.
And now for the final fight, it's time for Fugo to fight Aluso. This time with the same world-swapping mechanic Abbacchio had. And guys, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I hate this fight! Do you wanna guess how long this fight took me? No, for real, guess. You don't have to leave a comment, although it would be nice, just in your head right now. How long do you think this fight took me? Well, it took 2 whole freaking hours! 2! Why did the difficulty spike so damn hard? This fight felt nearly impossible. I'm not exaggerating the time either. I have the recordings. I have the timestamps. It actually took 2 hours fighting the same stupid fight over and over just to win once. This fight, it's just so bad. I was playing as Fugo for so long, I was starting to become Fugo. I was unironically coming down with a little bit of gamer rage. The moveset in this game is just so clunky. It's hard enough trying to land hits without a lock-on button on other enemies, but with the inverted movement, it just makes it so hard. A lot of the attacks from the enemies in this game are just straight up stupid, like this one grab attack. The guy literally materialized behind me, and I was helpless while he had his way with me. What was I even supposed to do? And sometimes the game just says, you know what? Fuck you. I'm not listening to you anymore. The only thing harder than playing this level is watching a Chewy Dog 1 video and trying to resist the urge to hit that sub button. It got so bad that I had to phone a friend for help. But after bashing my head in for 2 hours, I finally squeaked through a victory. It wasn't even satisfying. In most difficult games, that dopamine rush when you finally master a really hard boss and beat them at their own game, oh, there's nothing like it. But when I beat Aluso, I just felt dirty, like I needed a shower to get this filth off of me. I don't feel like I beat this out of my own skill. I feel like I only finally won because I got lucky enough with Illuso spending more time outside the mirror world where he's more vulnerable and spamming less of his stupid attacks. After the fight, Giorno and Fugo straight up game end Illuso by giving him an incredibly horrific and painful virus, but I don't even feel bad, man. I say give him 2 viruses. Double it and then give it back to Illuso. I don't even care, man. Good riddance. So now Bruno and the boys, and Trick, take the key to a train station where they find a turtle with a conveniently shaped keyhole on its back. It turns out this turtle was the vehicle the boss was referring to earlier. Okay, I'm not even gonna try to explain this one. The turtle is just a walking apartment. Just roll with it, okay? Uh-oh! More La Squadra guys. 2 of them this time. This first guy's stand has the ability to rapidly age everyone nearby.
Grow up.
So this first fight has an aging mechanic. As the fight goes on, Bruno's health constantly depletes to 0. Oh yeah, we're playing as Bruno now. The only way to stop the aging is to hit Prosciutto while his stand is out to force it to temporarily deactivate. This fight also took me quite a few attempts, but I found the best strategy is to use my zipper powers to go under the train and completely ignore Prosciutto's stand and to only target him, because without his stand, this guy's pretty weak. I also found out if you attack the ice machine, you get a little secret factor with a little cutscene about using ice to slow down the aging. That was pretty handy. The second fight is against this asparagus-looking fellow named Pesci. His stand ability is a fishing rod. I would be so mad if everyone got cool supernatural powers and I got a freaking fishing rod. If you dodge the fishing line when he sends it out, you'll become vulnerable for a bit, making for easy hits. But halfway through the fight, the aging fucker interferes with our 1v1 and my health starts depleting again. How are you not already dead? After beating Pesci, god damn it, I accidentally skipped the cutscene again. This is a pretty iconic scene in the manga, so I'm glad it got the full 3D cutscene treatment. Pesci shows how deplorable he and Prosciutto are, and Bruno goes, "No matter how you use the toilet, the turd always gets flushed," and then chops him into a million pieces. Honestly, this beatdown is pretty underwhelming. The anime made this scene way cooler. Now with the key and the vehicle, all Bruno and the gang need to do is receive the location of Trish's drop-off spot as their final order from the boss. So Bruno opens up Skype to talk to him. The boss gives the gang the location for a disc that contains the coordinates for where they need to bring Trish. What? Are you stupid? Holy shit, does Passione have a bureaucracy problem? You know, in the manga, there's a scene where the boss gives out his orders by giving the orders to a dude and then making him... That is so wasteful on so many levels, Well, while I was yapping away about an ineffective command structure... Oh no! It's Frozone! And he's angry! Now we get to play as Mista, and his stand ability are these little bullet guys. They talk and stuff, and they even eat. I have no idea how that works biologically. Where did he get the table? Our goal is to protect the car for 2 minutes by shooting Mr. Iceman so he doesn't ram the car. Okay, first off, how the hell is Mista not flying off the car right now? I'm no Mark Rober, but I've tried this in GTA and it never works out. Second, why is this bridge so damn long? And where is everyone? It's like the train all over again. And third, how come no matter how far we drive, the landscape and the horizon never gets any further away? God! Earlier I said I was becoming Fugo, but I think I'm becoming Ghiaccio with all this pointless nitpicking. Okay, fine, I'll talk about the gameplay now. Like I said, for 2 minutes you have to shoot Ghiaccio to prevent him from ramming the car. But again, there's no lock-on feature in this game. And trying to aim from this perspective is pretty damn difficult. I'm starting to wonder if the difficulty in this game is intentional to pad out the otherwise shorter game time. There's only something like 13 levels in this game. If I first tried all of them, I could be in and out in like an hour. But it's already been almost 4 hours, and 2 of them were on one freaking fight. Maybe I just suck at this game. This game is unironically harder than FromSoft. I beat Slave Knight Gale in like 30 minutes, but freaking Mirror Bastard took 2 hours, and now here I am trying to defend the car with the absolute worst aiming I've ever had to deal with in a video game. And then, after about 7 tries, I accidentally found out there's a homing shot button, which makes Mista's bullets home in on Ghiaccio. And boy did that make this fight an absolute breeze. And it made me feel like the biggest idiot in the world. Your Honor, in my defense, there's no tutorial or info page or anything. I was pressing L1 and it didn't do anything, but you gotta press L1, then R1. And if you press L1 twice, it cancels. After we survive 2 minutes, Gaccio gets fed up and knocks the car into the water. Now we get to fight Gaccio, but like for real for real. Gaccio has ice armor that makes him impervious to Mista's bullets. Luckily for us, his back does have an opening for oxygen, meaning there is one spot on Gaccio's armor that is vulnerable. So to defeat Gaccio, you have to kite around him so you can give him back shots. Once his HP reaches half, any bullets not shot at his back start ricocheting off of him and back at you, which prevents you from mindlessly spraying and praying. You know what? This fight was actually pretty good. I like dodging his charge attacks, it's pretty fun. I give this fight 3 big booms! Boom! 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 Yo, Costco guys, hit me up. AJ, we can make some magic together. After the fight, we get a cutscene. A 3D cutscene. Because this scene was so important, it just had to have the 3D treatment. But I'm not gonna show it. That's right, I'm gonna gatekeep it. Instead, I'm gonna explain it. Okay, so Mista is all injured after the fight with Ice Frozone guy, and so Giorno comes over and heals him. Okay? He heals him with his life ability, and that's all that happens. Then Narancha shows up, and he is incredibly shocked at how effective of a healing ability Golden Experience is. And then, at the end of the cutscene, we get our first good look at the boss. Spooky! The disc Mista retrieved gave the gang the coordinates for the drop-off spot for Trish. Big old church tower. So the gang brings Trish to the church bell tower thingy, and Bruno volunteers to be the one to bring Trish in to meet the boss.
私、父親のことを好きになれるかしら。
そんなことを心配する親子はいない。
God damn, that is one ugly 3D model. While in the lobby, Trish talks about her father. She's kind of perplexed why a father who has only recently figured out she existed wants to meet her so bad. Holy shit! It took until Trish magically disappearing for Bruno to finally realize the boss is not really that great of a guy. This whole time, the boss's true goal wasn't to meet his long-lost daughter. It was to tie up any loose ends that could reveal his identity. Honestly, yeah, no shit. The boss is not trying to be a drug kingpin and a dad, okay? He's no Heisenberg. This is actually a bit different from how the scene plays out in the source material, where Trish only disappears after she and Bruno are riding up in the elevator. But in the game, they barely make it through the front door before the boss gets the drop on him. You know, I guess he's a busy guy. So Bruno chases down the boss to save Trish, and now we gotta fight. All we have to do for this fight is survive against the boss for a minute, which is honestly a bit harder than it sounds because he has some crazy ass attacks. Look at this shit, dog, he's teleporting all over the place. Luckily, Bruno is the perfect character for this because you can just hide in the floor with your zippers. That is a scary looking loading screen. After the fight, the boss explains his stand ability, King Crimson, which gives him the ability to erase time, which is how he's been able to do all that wacky stuff. Now, it's time to fight the boss for real, and it's over in 2 punches. This is the guy, except this is one of those stupid things that they do in games sometimes where you win in the fight and then lose in the cutscene. Giorno finds Bruno dead, except he's not dead, and he gets up and starts acting like he wasn't dead on the floor 2 minutes ago. Bruno and Giorno bring Trish outside to the others, and they explain everything that just happened. Bruno explains that his new goal now is going to be to hunt down the boss and finish him before the boss is able to finish them. And he gives the offer to any of his little chudleys to leave now, knowing that this new path Bruno wants to take might end with everyone dead. But the homies, they don't care. Each of them would gladly give their lives for Bruno. Except Fugo, who calls them all idiots and chooses to stay loyal to the boss out of fear. Like, yeah, real smart, the boss is totally gonna take you back now. You're totally not about to get tortured with jumper cables. In the manga, this is the halfway point of the story, in the change of the status quo. Considering multiple fights have already been skipped, I do wonder if this is also the halfway point of the game or not. Guess there's only one way to find out. Another fight from the manga gets skipped. This time it was the Clash and Talking Head fight. Although, honestly, I could see why this one was skipped. How would you turn the ability to make people lie into a fight? Actually, I do know how. They'd make another stupid inverted controls fight. Instead, our gang is already on a plane headed towards Sardinia, because Trish's mother was in Sardinia once and... well, it's not like they have any other leads on the boss, okay? But then... holy shit, it's a blob! Giorno gets so excited at the prospect of fighting a big blob that he cuts off both of his hands. So now Trish has to fight it. Chivalry is dead. Our only goal for this fight is to make it to Giorno's ladybug brooch, which is a little bit harder than it looks with this blobby bastard guarding the aisle. I think the game wants me to cause a distraction like in the manga so I can sneak by it, but unfortunately for this little dude, I am simply that guy. Look at this dodge roll. What you're supposed to do is attack the chairs, which makes them decline, distracting Notorious B.I.G. since it reacts to movement. But it's a pretty lame distraction because Trish says, "Oh, I move slower than the chair, maybe I can sneak by." But no, you can't! The millisecond a single toe gets moved, you get jumped faster than a fancy cheetah on payday. Once you pick up the ladybug brooch, Trish awakens her stand ability, which, hold up! Is that a girl stand? What the fuck? Now we can finally beat up the blob. It's surprisingly easy. You can even stab him straight through with a pole. After you finish the first phase, the fight then turns into a freaking Resident Evil boss. What the hell is this, man? You have to survive 2 minutes while also hitting it backwards so it doesn't crush you like the freaking wall of flesh. If it looks hard, that's because it is. Jokes aside, the fight is actually pretty cool. I don't even mind having to keep retrying. I mean, just look at this. How is this not the coolest shit you've ever seen? After beating the blob, whose name is Notorious B.I.G. by the way, I thought I should mention that, the gang finally arrives on the coast of Sardinia. And guess what? We get another entire arc skipped. This time it was the Doppio arc. Honestly, it's a shame. I would say the Doppio arc is the highlight of the entire part, and it's not like they couldn't have made this arc work, so I'm not entirely sure why it got the axe. In fact, there's some key story information we get during this arc that you now just don't get in this game. Once the gang arrives on shore, Narancia detects a nearby fight, and so the gang goes to investigate, leaving Abakio behind. While investigating, Narancia finds a dead goth clown on the ground. What a shame. This guy's name is Risotto Nero, and of any character in Golden Wind, he is the one they did the most dirty in this game. Remember La Squadra? Well, this guy is This guy was the leader of La Squadra. Did you know La Squadra literally just translates to the team? He was a recurring character properly built up and got one of the best fights in the entire franchise during the skipped Doppio arc. But in the game, all you get is the aftermath. A dead Risotto Nero. Meanwhile, while Abakio is all alone kicking rocks and browsing r/atheism, he gets approached by a short king with pink hair. And, oh my god, it's the boss! And then Abakio picks up the boss and rips him in half over his head and he drinks the blood like Nah, I'm kidding, the boss kills him. R.I.P. to a real one. After the gang have their little morning sesh, they get a new message, but this time it's not from Skype, it's from TeamSpeak. An anonymous individual tells Bruno they know how to find and eliminate the boss, and if they want that information, they gotta meet him in Rome. Once the gang arrives in Rome, they're What the fuck? Why does he look like that? Ew! This is Cioccolata and his pet, Secco. Cioccolata has the ability to create a mold that chews through anyone nearby when they decrease in elevation, and Secco has the ability to swim through earth like earth is water. Our first goal is to get up to the town as Mista while being attacked by Secco. This part really sucks. Secco dives in and out of the ground, knocking you all over the place, slowing you, grabbing you. I said don't touch me! He has this one attack where he just pulls you underground and resets you to an earlier part of the level. What is the counterplay to this? I had to do this section so many times, I noticed Sekko only attacks you at very specific points. Meaning I was starting to be able to predict when he'd jump out at me. And I don't know if this is like intentional game design, or maybe I just spent way too long on this one section. You guys wanna see some crazy speedrun tech? Watch Sekko knock me upwards towards my goal. What a real one. After you get Mista into town, now it's time to fight Chocolata as Giorno. You know, it's kind of funny how I'm almost done with this game, and this is only like the third time I'm playing as the protagonist. You know, this fight is pretty easy. I wasn't even trying to beat him when I first won. I was just messing around. He has this one move where he disassembles himself like a Lego figure. It's pretty worthless and it only makes him an easier target, but I like it. I think it looks funny. Also, for those wondering, the cutscene after Chocolata does not live up to the 7-page beatdown we got from the manga. For the final fight of this stage, Bruno has to fight Sekko. Somehow this fight was even easier than the last. After the fight ends, Bruno starts tweaking. Remember when he died but then he didn't die? Well, it's starting to catch up with him. Trish escorts Bruno into the Colosseum to meet their mysterious companion, who turns out to be Polnareff, one of the characters from JoJo's third part, Stardust Crusaders. He went from having Silver Chariot to being a Silver Chariot. Then it's revealed Trish was not actually Trish, but oh my god, Bruno's being escorted by the boss, Diavolo! His name is Diavolo! What is that loading screen? Oh my goodness. No freaking way. This is kinda, ow, fuck! Look at this sick ass drifting. Poland is actually a pretty unique, why did that autocorrect to Polnareff is actually a pretty unique character to play as, disregarding the obvious. He's the only character in the game that only has stand attacks. You know, you can't bitch slap the way every other character in this game can. This fight is kinda hard. Diavolo is one tough cookie with all sorts of time flubbery shenanigans. He loves to spam this one attack in particular that makes you move super slowly. Visually, it looks really cool, but man is it annoying. You basically can't do anything and are forced to watch as Diavolo has his way with you. He also likes to spray blood on the screen like the blooper from Mario Kart. And just like the blooper, I'm not stupid, this doesn't do anything. After the fight, Polnareff gets punched through the chest, the same way Bakio was. But then, a mysterious stand appears and takes the arrow Polnareff had. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the arrow. The key to defeating Diavolo was that arrow. And as the mysterious stand walks away with the arrow, Diavolo begins to feel willy sweepy. Around this time, the rest of the gang all arrive at the Colosseum and then everyone falls asleep. And then when everyone wakes up, they're all like, why are you in my body? Get out of my body. And then a friggin' turtle shows up and is like, yo, what up? I'm the guy you're supposed to meet. I'm a turtle now. Bram, bram. I don't know what sound turtles make. Turns out this was all because of Polnareff. He used the arrow. By stabbing your stand with the arrow, it turns into its Requiem form, which gives it a new ability. For Polnareff, it just swapped everyone's bodies around. But now it's gone rogue and it's running away with the arrow. So now everyone wants the arrow because whoever gets it will probably win the last fight. But then Diavolo runs into Colosseum, but don't worry because he's actually Bruno. Oh snap, y'all. We're playing as the boss himself. Not really, because he just has Bruno's moveset, but... All Silver Chariot Requiem will do is walk forward, and you have to defeat him before he escapes the map. This fight is like, really easy. Like, easy. Maybe it's me. Maybe I've just improved so much. Maybe I'm just perhaps the greatest gamer to ever game this game. What are these loading screens? They just gave up. Alright. Guys, it's time to set a mood. A sad mood. Oh, this is perfect. After the fight, everyone is loitering around when all of a sudden, Narancha, who is in Giorno's body, gets impaled by a spiky fence like a Looney Tunes character, and he dies. And I'm sorry, it's just... It just isn't sad with the goofy looking PS2 models and the same cutscene music I've been hearing for the entire game. It's also funny how fast this scene plays out. The game doesn't dwell on it at all. I understand pacing and everything, so we're not about to get a 5-minute cutscene here, but it just makes it look like everyone moves on immediately, like nobody cared. The real sad death is Doppio. My man did nothing wrong. Actually, well, okay, he did do some things wrong. But he was also barely in this game, so I'm not even gonna bother elaborating on him. So they chase after the rogue Silver Chariot Requiem, who still has the MacGuffin arrow. Then they get the arrow, everyone gets sent back to their original bodies, except Bruno, who dies for real this time. And then Giorno uses the arrow to stab his stand, evolving it into Gold Experience Requiem. And now, at the finale of the game, it is time to kick the boss. As far as final fights go, this one is kinda underwhelming. You know, I gave a lot of shit to the Family Guy video game in my video on it, but credit where credit is due, that game's final boss was bonkers. Diavolo's moveset is seemingly the same as it was during the Polnareff fight, but now, Giorno has a new moveset with Gold Experience Requiem. I'm a bit underwhelmed by GER. I expected a fun power trip, but it's just the exact same moveset as before, but now I have a cool laser. There is one detail that I do like, and that is with GER, now Giorno can move within Diavolo's time stop. After beating Diavolo, he gets sent to Super Hell to suffer beyond the end of time, which in my opinion, damn bro, this is not even your average hell, this is super duper hell. I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy. Why is bro so happy? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the game. In the manga and the anime, there's actually one more short arc called The Rolling Stones, which acts as a prequel to the entire story. It's actually a pretty cool arc, and it's pretty important for tying together some of the themes of the story, so it's kind of a shame it isn't here, but I guess it makes sense to end the game on the climactic boss fight and not some melodramatic rock guy. By beating the main story, you unlock another story called Another Story. This mode is basically just a way to play the fights from the story, but as different characters. Now guys, I have a confession to make. I tried to 100% this game, but I failed. To 100% this game, you have to beat every story mission hitless while achieving every secret factor. And I tried. I genuinely spent hours, and I tried. I was able to 100% the first few fights, but my first issue came from the Narancha fight. One of the secret factors I needed to get was to bomb Formaggio while he is riding a rat. And I sat there in this fight for 30 minutes, doing nothing, waiting for him to shrink himself down and ride a rat, but he didn't do it. There's not even any guides on the internet for 100%ing this game, so I don't know if I'm just getting unlucky or there's something I need to do first. So I gave up on the Narancha fight and decided to go to the first Fugo fight against Eluso. Surviving 2 minutes against Eluso isn't that bad, but to go 2 whole minutes without being hit once is just ridiculous. There was a couple times where I almost won, but then shit like this would happen.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh god! Oh. Oh. No! You're kidding me, man!
To keep myself sane while doing this over and over, I was watching Family Guy on my second monitor. And doing this one level took me 2.5 Family Guy episodes. So after waiting 30 minutes for some stupid shrinking loser and another 50 minutes running around trying to not get hit with flying knives, I decided I needed a break. I haven't even started Another Story, so I decided to check that one out. And that's when I realized I'm gonna need to 100% each fight 5 times. Once on Super Story, and then 4 more times on other characters in Another Story. How am I gonna survive the second Notorious B.I.G. fight without taking a single hit? Nevertheless, doing it once, how am I gonna do it 5 freaking times? Why? Why do you have to fight the same boss 5 times hitless? That's just... I can't, man. How would you even do the Pesci and Prosciutto fights? They both have a constant drain on your HP with the aging mechanic. I tried to look for advice online, but I couldn't even find any. HowLongToBeat.com doesn't even have any records of anyone 100%ing the game, and I think I know why. This game was just not made for completionists. Therefore, guys, I did not 100% JoJo's Forgotten PS2 game. but I did play 100% of this game, so I can use that in the title. Yes! The final feature of the game I want to talk about is the gallery. Remember near the beginning of the video when I was like, what the hell are JoJo points? Well, those numerical scores I've been getting at the end of every level are the JoJo points, and by reaching certain milestones, you unlock more swagger in the gallery. The gallery in this game is actually pretty cool. I like this menu. I think it's either supposed to be the hotel room the boss uses in a scene from the manga, or maybe Giorno's room, which was also in one scene but was cut from the game. In here, you can listen to the music tracks, look over some stage concept art, free roam around the levels, mess around with the 3D models, and uh-oh. You can't say that word anymore, bub. But by far the coolest feature of the gallery are the dramatizations. You know how throughout the game I've talked about certain fights or entire arcs that got skipped in the game? Well, they actually made full voiced cutscenes for the skipped events, and here is where you can watch them. I was genuinely shocked by this. This is one of those features that only fans of the series would care about, and I applaud them for going out of the way to include them. They're pretty long too, and full of unique art that they made exclusively for these dramatizations. So you know what? You get a golden star for that one. Good job. And that is everything JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Vento Aureo has to offer. Now how does it compare to Garfield Kart? You know what? It's better. Hell, I liked it a lot better than ASBR, and that game is way newer. This game felt like it was made with much more passion for the series, as opposed to ASBR, which felt more like a game made to hit a profit quota. I do think it's a shame that the game is quite short. Some of the fights they ended up cutting out from the game, I don't really understand why they do that. I mean, how cool would a Doppio and Risottonero fight be? This game took me about 7 hours to beat, and most of my gameplay was just me replaying the same level again and again. And it's not a fun difficulty either. Sekiro is a fun difficulty. This is just annoying difficulty. And because of that, a lot of the time I just wanted to get this level over with so I can move on. Would I recommend this game to non-JoJo fans? No, probably not. If you're looking for a good brawler, I'd recommend something like Hi-Fi Rush or the Devil May Cry games. But would I recommend this to JoJo fans? Maybe. It depends. If you're someone who can put up with annoying boss fights, to experience a new and abridged version of a story you enjoy, you know what? I say go for it. Why not? Just don't blame me when you start pulling out your hair at the stupid Eluso fight.